US President Donald Trump says he and First Lady Melania Trump have now tested positive for coronavirus. This after his top aide, Hope Hicks, tested positive for COVID-19. She frequently travels with the president and the White House inner circle, including attending the first debate in Ohio. Let's have a quick look at the futures then and see what happens here as we get confirmation from the president that he now has COVID. And as you can see, we are seeing some deterioration. I would imagine the first reaction at this point really is a scramble to figure out what the consequences of this are likely to be for both the election and the maintenance of power through the position of the presidency. As I say, we have only just seen the president's tweet. This happened just a couple of minutes before we came to air. So it's very fresh for us, and I think it's very fresh for the investment markets. And as you can see in Asia, we have tipped into negative territory largely across the Asian markets that are trading. Probably worth adding, if you don't follow the Asian markets too closely, we do have a lot of Asian markets not active today as they continue their mid-autumn festival. But I think it is clear, given that we had a largely positive close for the trading session yesterday and a very strong up leg for the Nasdaq and the growth stocks, that the tone of today's early futures is very negative, and it seems that the market reaction at this point is to sell down on the back of this news.
Markets sell down on uncertainty. This is uncertainty. Uncertainty for the president's health, and of course we have to be totally honest about this. People of a certain age demographic are more likely to have more severe symptoms when they have COVID-19. And the president, who is in his early 70s, and we understand he's a very healthy man in his early 70s, the fact of the matter is it is more of a tricky demographic when it comes to COVID-19. So for a start, people will be wanting to know about and actively wanting to know about the updates on the president's health. And as we say, we've only literally just had this one tweet for a start. Two, the ramifications for Joe Biden as well. Because, of course, we know that transmission of COVID-19 can happen by spores in the air, what have you. And there was a very vociferous debate, as we all know, in Cleveland, Ohio this week on the presidential debate. So is there any danger to the Democratic candidate as well? Does that mean he will test positive? Again, a man who's in his late 70s as well. Third ramification, what does it mean for the election build-up, and for the debates as well, and indeed for the effective running of the administration in the meantime? So there are lots of very clinical questions, but of course the most important thing is, of course, that everybody, I think, wants the president to get well as soon as possible. Karen.
I guess there's a sense of shock. It reminds me of when I was on air and we found out that Boris Johnson here in the UK had tested positive. There's this sense of just, I guess, shock that overcomes you, that can happen to a leader of a major country. And the timing is just unbelievable, isn't it? In the UK, it was when we were dealing with coronavirus, the very first wave, the onset of the virus. And in the United States, clearly the timing is just incredible, because it is right on the eve of the election, these huge debates that are now scheduled for later this month. So I think that the timing is probably what investors are reacting to at this point. Also, it does tend to throw the spotlight again on coronavirus and the president's handling of the pandemic. There were so many issues that came up in the debate, and in some ways coronavirus was overshadowed by a lot of other different factors that came into the mix. This time round, you've got to say, we get that spotlight firmly back on this pandemic. And you think about the way the president had managed the message around it, initially played down the virus. He spoke about all sorts of different treatments to avoid catching coronavirus, including hydroxychloroquine. Often he shunned the wearing of masks as well. So a lot of this is going to come back up before the election as well. And clearly, as you point out, there are risks around what type of coronavirus this could be for him, whether it's a mild version or whether it's a more severe version. And that has enormous implications as we count down to the 3rd of November.